Talking about a film that has very limited screenings, and there's a lot to ask audiences to firstly pay for to watch again, or sit for 4 hours and 35 minutes. Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. First off, the audience in my cinema screening, there's probably at first off I thought I was going to be the only one, but then it did start filling up, which I was glad. It was about half full, and there was one female. Uh, so it's like interesting. Okay, this is I wouldn't class it as female empowerment movie, but it certainly is protagonist in the likeness of, let's say, Sigourney Weaver in Alien. It's that
Hmm.
sort of
Mostly.
where this is obviously a revenge plot. So first off, you need to know that this film is over 20 years old. This is always what Quentin Tarantino wanted the film to be. It was shot as one film, and because it went quite a bit, I think it was going over budget, and at the time when the runtime was over 4 hours, Harvey Weinstein,
Mm.
yeah, that I was like,
Hmm.
it's so disappointing you couldn't take that name away from the credits, but you have
Yeah.
to. Um, they went, no, you're going to put it into two movies. So reluctantly, he did that, but it Quentin has spent years trying to get this back into the cinemas and the way it should be. And I think most people that have seen Kill Bill will regard it as one of the great homages and love letters to cinema, but like with various themes, old samurai films
Hmm.
to even, anything with Bruce Lee, especially the yellow jumpsuit that Uma Thurman wears. It pays homages, but then it also does its own thing. And then the tonal shift of Kill Bill Volume 2 is so different that people were expecting more of the same with the first one and so it just didn't quite vibe the same way with everybody. I get it because I felt the same way. I have seen Kill Bill Volume 1 way more than I've seen Volume 2. However, having seen the way that it should have been, even though there's still a 15-minute intermission when you go and watch it at the cinema, the flow and the re-edit, the rejig of stuff, not a lot, makes it feel like it was always one story. Before, my thinking was Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, they're separate films, still one story. Now I see this as one story, and it works
Mm.
thematically and pacing wise, it works so much better. I actually enjoyed the second half more than I did the first, even though the first is has like these crazy great action sequences, and not just the fact that they're great action sequences, it's cinema art, like they're beautiful.
Mm.
I'd never had the opportunity to watch this at the cinema the first time it came out, so this was it was an event. It's because it's over 20 years. I don't know what I was doing back then, but this wasn't the thing that I was going to go and watch. Hearing and seeing Quentin's, I guess he's the way he tells story, because we know Quentin so much for great dialogue. Like if you
Hmm.
go back to Reservoir Dogs, there's a hell of a lot of dialogue, but
Oh
then you
yeah.
take when he gets really artsy and you mix those two things together, and then you take a score by Raza, it becomes something more than I think people were expecting from him. And so now we have this whole bloody affair that is an absolute love letter. And that's so cringy when people say that, because I think it's used too much, like
Yeah.
as to describe things, to describe certain films. But I honestly believe that this will be one film in the future as one thing that people will look back and go, let's compare it to that. So a love letter to Kill Bill almost, because that's how much this works in its kind of flow and tempo now. So the first film, Kill Bill, had a huge spoiler for Kill Bill 2. And in case you haven't seen it, I'm not going to say what it is, but they've re-edited that sequence at the end. There's a big surprise that doesn't come at the end of like that first half, comes right at the end. And it works so much better. The gut punch, the emotional tone that it throws, it's like that fruition of completionist of that story once we get there, once we see our character Uma Thurman realize something, It emotionally it hits that much harder. We still have the amazing Crazy 88 fight sequence where she's fighting a horde of bad guys. Oren, she's fighting Lucy Liu is the big bad boss of the one things. You know, the story is the revenge story. She was murdered. Well, it's a weird thing to say. She was murdered. She was shot in the head while she was pregnant. The whole bridal party at a bride rehearsal. It's one of those films that you were like, yeah, it's a great film, but you forget how brutal uh,
Mm.
her revenge story and why she's doing. And then even while she was recovering, stuff that was happening to her in the hospital, it's a like nasty collection of things making her revenge story work so well. And seeing that played out chronologically, you forget that it jumps backwards and forwards, but still feels like a chronological story. It's very well edited that way. Because we start like this is one of the great things about writing with well, this is one of the great storytelling beats is always jump into your action. Don't build up to it. When you start a story, you got a hook. And it
Yeah.
starts with that amazing fight sequence in a house. It's brutal, it's heavy. Uma Thurman's character isn't immortal. She just is Sisu, right? She
Just
keeps
won't
going,
stop. Yep.
won't stop. She has revenge. So that works out wonderfully. The Crazy 88 fight sequence in America, it got this film got an NC-17 because that sequence about halfway through goes black and white.
Mm.
Now it's restored. There is no more black and white, and you see all the gore
Oh, wow.
for all it's worth. Now, I like that, but I actually really loved the thematic color changing because they used the
Mm.
black and white, and then later we have the blue silhouette. Again, homage to great films, and then the red, and but it still works. But it's quite nice to see what the original vision was, and it is gory. I love her speech. Those of you who can leave, you can leave, but leave your limbs. Those belong to me now. It's just all of those moments of revenge build up to something that's so beautiful, and then the starkness of the snow fight with Lucy Liu ending that Crazy 88 scene is great. There, it feels like there's more of each scene. So like I can
Huh.
remember most of it, but in my brain I'm thinking I feel like this is much more fleshed out. One of the things that's definitely fleshed out is do you remember the animated sequence of Oren? So there's this
No.
animated
Mm-mm.
sequence in Kill Bill 1 where we get to see a backstory of Oren Urshish. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but uh, of what happened to her. She was an army brat and seeing her mother and father killed. Very similar juxtaposition of story of a revenge story. She just had a different path. So it was really interesting seeing her story played out. But they extended that animated scene a lot. And it's we get to see like what she does along the line fighting someone else, getting revenge against those people that killed her parents. And that was beautifully animated. It's really well done. So there are like extra bits, and because of how they've changed a few things up, the line of dialogue changed differently, a few more extra scenes. It just feels like a completely fleshed out film. The thing that I don't want in this film that unfortunately is in the film is right at the end of the credits. So I guess it's an add-on. It's Quentin Tarantino's lost chapter of Yuki. It's a 7 minute, I think it might be a 7 minute sequence, animated. It's pitched because it's an adult movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard 18 now, especially, but it was an NC-17. But it's a animated sequence for the game, like one of the largest online multiplayer games ever. You're on a bus and then you jump out of the bus that's floating in the sky. Animated sequence, it's kind of
Okay.
okay, but it was obviously a marketing thing for this game that is for 12-year-olds or 14-year-olds in in their room. Fortnite, thank you. It's a have you heard of Fortnite, Chris?
Yes, I've heard of Fortnite.
Okay.
Yes, I
Slightly
didn't.
bigger game.
I didn't really see. I was thinking back at the time, like
Yeah.
in early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's where I wasn't thinking.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. So And it was so weird. I'm so glad it's not actually in the movie. It's just like right at the end of the credits. If that's something you want to see to do with Yuki's story, then fine, you'll enjoy that. But for me, I was just like, oh, ah.
Okay. Because I heard that like something about a new chapter. So I'm glad you talked about that because that's what I wanted to find out is that what does that actually entail?
Yeah.
Outside of that weird addition though,
Mm,
good. Like you like
so good. So good. It's a
some.
master. It is a masterpiece. It's his masterpiece. Like I enjoy Pulp Fiction, love Reservoir Dogs for the dialogue. I know most people would think that the Nazi killing one is his perfection,
Oh,
but
Glorious
seeing this,
Bastards.
Glorious Bastards, yes, and I agree, it's a great film. My favorite has been up until now Jackie Brown. This one though, I was like, yeah, there's a reason why this hit well. But now seeing it like I guess it was meant to be, I was like, oh, so good. Uma Thurman, this has to be her best role. It's got to be. She's just embodies that revenge story.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but I definitely will check it out once it like it
Yeah,
becomes
this will be
available. So that
one I want on like 4K. I must own it.